Hello, my dear. Welcome to tonight's tale.
A story of silence, fear, and something under the bed.
Before you sleep, let me tell you about Eli, and why he never closed his eyes again.
They thought it was just another quiet night. They were wrong.
If you're listening to this in the dark, don't look under your bed. Welcome. I know you're awake.
Remember, he always is.
Let's the story begin.
Outside, the storm murmured softly, wrapping the house in restless whispers.
A young boy named Eli stirred under his blanket, half lost in dreams.
The house was silent except for the rhythmic ticking of the old clock downstairs.
Then he heard it. Footsteps.
Soft, deliberate, heavy footsteps echoing down the hallway.
His small heart began to thump painfully inside his chest.
He thought maybe it was his father going to the kitchen. But then, the footsteps stopped right outside his door.
He held his breath, eyes wide open in the dark.
The door knob turned slowly, squeaking like a scream. The door creaked open, and cold air slipped into the room. Through the sliver of light, Eli saw a tall figure standing in the doorway.
In his hand, something dark dripped onto the carpet. It wasn't water.
The man stepped into the room, dragging two lifeless shapes behind him. Moonlight flashed across pale, familiar faces.
Eli's world shattered. Those were his parents.
He tilted their heads to face the boy's bed, as if forcing them to watch.
The man propped them gently on the chair by Eli's desk.
Then he dipped his fingers into the blood on the floor.
Slowly, he began to write on the wall.
Each stroke made a sickening wet sound. Eli's body froze. He could hear the man's shallow breathing. Steady, calm, patient.
When the writing was done, the man turned his head slightly toward the bed.
Eli's eyes slammed shut. He didn't move. He didn't breathe. The man boots scuffed softly against the...
Eli heard the sound of something heavy shifting under the bed.
The man had crawled underneath. Time stopped. Eli's tiny chest rose and fell as quietly as he could manage. His pulse hammered so loud he was sure it would give him away.
The smell of blood filled the air, metallic and thick. Minutes stretched like hours. The wind moaned through the crack in the window.
The old clock downstairs chimed 1.
The bodies in the chair sat motionless, their empty eyes glinting faintly.
Eli's vision blurred with tears.
He wanted to scream, but fear glued to his throat.
But he knew. It was real. But nightmares don't smell like death. An hour crawled by. His eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness.
The moonlight illuminated the writing on the wall. The letters were smeared, but readable.
His throat tightened as he sounded them out in his head. His throat tightened as he sounded them out in his head.
I know you're awake. He froze completely, his body stiff as stone. Something shifted under the bed.
Wood creaked, breath hot and damp.
It blushed against his hand that dangled off the edge.
He snatched it back silently. The breathing stopped. Eli waited, trembling uncontrollably.
He could feel eyes staring at him from beneath the mattress.
The clock struck 2. Then came a whisper.
Why aren't you asleep, Eli?
In the suffocating dark, his eyes flew open, desperate to find the sound.
That voice, it wasn't his father's. He didn't dare respond.
The whisper came again, lower now. You saw me, didn't you?
Eli pressed his hands over his ears, holding his breath.
The whisper turned into a faint chuckle.
That's all right. It's more fun when they don't pretend to sleep.
Something scraped against the floor under the bed.
The shadow moved. Ely heard fabric tearing, wood cracking softly.
Then, silence again. The silence was worse than the sound.
He counted his breaths. 1, 2, 3.
He stopped when another breath joined his, right beside him.
The whisper came from above his head now. You shouldn't look.
The whisper came from above his head now. Slowly, he turned his head toward the wall.
The blood letters were dripping fresh again, as if still being written. New words appeared beneath the old ones. Don't scream.
A hand, pale, slick with blood, slid over his mouth.
Ely's muffled cry filled the dark. The hand disappeared as quickly as it came.
Paralyzed in terror, he begged silently for light, for help, for escape.
The whisper turned into humming. A twisted lullaby drifted from under the bed. Sleep, little boy. Sleep so sound.
Ely shut his eyes tight, praying it would stop. His tears soaked the pillow.
The humming continued, closer now. Then a cold finger traced his spine through the blanket.
He jerked but stayed silent. The whisper giggled softly. Good boy.
The bed frame creaked.
Hours passed. The clock struck 3.
The room felt smaller, air thinner, every shadow alive.
Ely tried to count again. 1, 2.
A wet hand gripped his ankle. He bit his tongue to keep from screaming.
The whisper rose in pitch. You're still awake and you're...
The hand released him. Silence returned.
For a moment, he thought the thing was gone.
Then came the faintest sound, dragging.
The bodies in the chair shifted slightly, their heads turned toward him.
Blood trickled from their lips.
The whisper came from both of their mouths now.
Wake up, Eli. His scream finally broke the night. The house fell silent again.
Except for the soft, steady breathing under the bed.
The story ends here, but the breathing never stopped. It just moved closer.
Thank you for listening. Tap like, share, comment, and subscribe if you're still awake, and